This is a story of 1983, but this is not the world as we know it. The story opens with a promotional video from the 1960s, where Dr. Mercurio Arboria speaks about the goals of his institute, to promote happiness, tranquility, and inner peace. He speaks of a future where humanity would transcend its limitations through a blend of advanced technology and spiritual enlightenment. However, in the present it becomes clear that these ideals have been corrupted. As in the present we can see the institute exists in a state of decay, a cold, sterile environment dominated by clinical white walls. From 1983 this institute has been led by Dr. Barry Nile, a former protege of Dr. Arboria. Dr. Nile is a complex and deeply disturbed individual. He presents a calm and controlled exterior, but beneath this facade lies a man who is losing his grip on reality. His main subject at the present is Elena, a young girl. Elena possesses mysterious psychic abilities, and Nile is determined to unlock the secrets of her mind, even if it means destroying her in the process. She is kept in a small, sterile room, isolated from the outside world. Elena's only contact is with Nile, who subjects her to a series of psychological and physical tests. Nile uses a combination of drugs, hypnosis, and a glowing prism-like device to probe Elena's mind. Elena can feel the prism with the rhythm of her heartbeat, and she can feel how it suppresses her psychic ability. Nile's tests on Elena are conducted in a stark white chamber, with Nile watching Elena from behind a glass wall. Despite her captivity, Elena always remains defiant, her eyes burning with a quiet determination that she will be free one day. Other hand, Nile's mental state begins to deteriorate day by day. He becomes increasingly erratic, lashing out at those around him. His obsession with Elena also deepens, and he starts to see her as both a key to his own salvation and a threat to his power. During a session of their experiment, Nile talks about Elena's mother and how beautiful she was. At that time he also asks Elena if she wants to see her mother's photograph, which she replies positively. At night Elena finds her mother's photograph under her bed as Nile instructed earlier. She became emotional. Then she uses her psychic ability and watches TV shows by just using a monitor. Fascinated, Nile observes this behind a monitor. On the other hand, Nile returns to his home, talking to his wife Rosemary. Rosemary talks in a manner that she is under some kind of drug addiction. Besides, Nile himself also takes a lot of medicine to make himself happy, but instead he becomes insane day by day. During another session with Nile, Elena uses her psychic ability and asks him to see his father. But he rejects her. He says the world is not prepared for her psychic ability, thus she can't meet with her father. He also says her power is too much for the real world, but that's not actually true. One evening while the nurse Margot returns home after finishing her work at the facility, she finds some crucial documents on Elena's case made by Nile. This document contains some unsettling things and some strange symbols. By reading this she gained the knowledge about Nile's obsession over Elena, which is very bad for Nile indeed. Fearfully she put the documents back, but unknowingly an ash from her cigarette tips remains there. Later it is found by Nile. At that moment, he plans to murder her by Elena. He set a confrontation between Margot and Elena. During their confrontation, Nile wisely deactivates the prism which activates Elena's power. At that moment Elena is angry with Margot because Margot destroyed her mother's picture. So with the chance she uses her telepathy and kills Margot by crashing his brain through her eyes. That fascinates Nile. Then, Elena sees a chance to escape. She goes for it. But as Nile is observing her, he activates the prism again and makes her unconscious. He comes out wearing an orange suit, injects her with drugs and makes her captive again. After that, Nile goes to visit Arboria. Dr. Arboria himself is now a broken man, a shadow of his former self who goes under the signs of senility and drug addiction. His once grand vision for the institute has been corrupted by Nile, who has twisted the experiments to suit his own desires. When Nile visits Arboria, he is barely conscious. Arboria requests Nile to help with the drug dose. Nile injects Arboria with a lethal dose of drugs, effectively ending the old man's life to overpower his control with all over the institute. During the killing Elena feels this through her telepathic link. At this time Nile remembers something, a flashback of his own past. Flashbacks reveal Arboria's wife, Elena's mother Anna, also a young Nile once as a subject of Dr. Arboria's experiments. The experiments contained a strange black liquid that was supposed to unlock the mind's hidden potential. Nile submerged to this black liquid and experienced hellish visions. The effect of the experiment on him was profound, but not in the way Arboria intended. This liquid transformed Nile into a cold and calculating individual, devoid of empathy or compassion. Nile went insane after coming out from the liquid and killed Anna. Unworried by this fact, Arboria also submitted his infant Elena to the same process. And this is the reason for her psychic power, and also Niall's obsession with Elena. Back to the present, Niall returns home and removes his disguises. He removes a wig to reveal a bald, scarred head. He removes his eyelashes and wears a black suit. This was the result of the experiments he endured in the past. His eyes become clouded and filled with darkness. His wife is shocked to see him in this state after many years. He told his wife Rosemary that this is the consequences of the black liquid, and he described it as something he saw beyond the black rainbow. He became crazy and killed Rosemary by crashing her eyeballs. Meanwhile, Elena finally succeeds in escaping from her cell, because she never loses hope. She uses her psychic powers to disable the security systems in the institute. She manages to escape from her room and begins to make her way through the facility. When she escapes through the dark, labyrinthine corridors of the institute, the facility is totally empty, adding to the sense of isolation and dread. During the escape, in a chamber of the facility she comes with a deadly man, once a subject of Niall, tries to capture her, but she somehow manages to escape. After that she faces an orange suit guard, but very easily she escaped from it. She found a person's room there, which did not look like the facility room. When she opens the door of the room, she finds herself outside the facility. She finds a manhole there, and when she comes out from the manhole, finally she touches the ground and sees the night sky for the first time ever in her life. She touches the grass passionately. She feels thrilled and amazing at this time. On the other hand, Niall picks out a dagger called the Devil's Teardrop from his drawer and goes to the facility. And by reaching there he becomes aware of Elena's escape and begins to pursue her. Niall's pursuit of Elena is driven by a mixture of rage and desperation. He cannot bear the thought of losing control over her and his obsession reaches a fever pitch. He follows her through the institute. But when he can't find her in the institute, he goes outside to find her by following a tracking device. This tracking device was inside Elena. While searching for her through the tracking device, Niall confronts two Heshers. They are enjoying themselves at night without knowing what is waiting for them next. Niall mistakenly thinks Elena is with them, but they do not agree with the fact. He has gone heavily mad by then, so he killed them both. After that, Niall finally catches up to Elena following the tracking device. When he comes face to face with Elena, he is fully unhinged and tries to exert his control over Elena one last time. However, Elena's powers have grown stronger at that moment, and she is no longer the frightened captive she once was. Using her psychic abilities, she fights back against Niall, overpowering him both mentally and physically. She wisely uses her power and traps Niall's feet. Eventually the angry man fell down and hit his head with a rock on the ground, die instantly there. His body is now left broken and lifeless on the ground. With Niall defeated, now Elena is finally free. She walks away from the institute, leaving behind the horrors of her captivity. At last she finds herself in a suburban street, and finds a small city there. However, Elena has escaped from Niall's control, but the scars of her experience will remain with her. Also, her journey is not over yet, and the world she has escaped into is far from a safe haven. The sky above her is dark, and the landscape is desolate, suggesting that the world beyond the institute is just as bleak as the one she left behind. So, Beyond the Black Rainbow is about control, power, and the dangers of unchecked scientific ambition. It is not a film that provides easy answers or a straightforward narrative. The Arboria Institute, once a place of hope and enlightenment, becomes a symbol of the corruption of utopian ideals. Niall represents the dangers of losing one's humanity in the pursuit of power. His transformation from a promising scientist to a monstrous figure is a cautionary tale about the perils of playing with forces beyond our understanding. His obsession with Elena reflects his need to control and dominate, a desire that ultimately leads to his downfall. Elena, on the other hand, embodies the struggle for freedom and self-determination. Despite the overwhelming odds against her, she never loses hope and eventually finds the strength to break free from her captors. Her journey is one of self-discovery and empowerment, as she learns to harness her abilities and use them to fight back against those who seek to control her. That's it. Here the story finishes. If you like this video, let us know. Also stay subscribed to the channel to watch more interesting videos like this. Thank you.